What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with reacting to your football hot takes part 13. I'm pretty sure I should have looked this up before the video started. I don't know why I didn't, but anyway, we're back with another part of reacting to your football hot takes. You guys know the drill. A couple days back on my community tab, I asked you guys for some of your hottest takes in regards to the beautiful game, and like always, man, you guys are not letting me down. So many great hot takes here. I cannot wait to get into this video. So let's get into the video. Enough of this yapping, and let's react to some of your hot takes. The first take we have in today's video: Aubameyang is one of the most underrated strikers of our generation. I 100% agree, man. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is so underappreciated. This guy was a beast for over half a decade. I mean, this guy was that good at Dortmund, man. He was a goal-scoring machine. Actually outscored Lewandowski for a couple of seasons at Dortmund. He was fantastic. Gets the move to Arsenal, and while yes, it ended badly between him and Arteta, he won a Premier League Golden Boot. Aubameyang won the fucking Premier League Golden Boot. That's all I gotta say. He won the Premier League Golden Boot. And that partnership between him, Alexis Sanchez, and Ozil, I mean, for a few years, it was clicking. They were looking like a really, really good trio, like one of the best trios in the Prem. And then he goes to Barca after Arsenal on loan. And the 6 months he spent at the club, I have so many memories of Aubameyang and like the goals that he scored, the El Clasico, you know, the goal against Napoli in the UCL, the goal against Valencia where he hit off his back, that Pedri shot on goal. There's so many memories that I have of him at Barca, and I actually wanted him back for the next season. I don't know why we got rid of him. Obviously, we brought in Lewa, so, you know, you're kind of like, you send off Aubameyang and you bring in Lewa. In theory, it was an upgrade, and now looking back at it, it was kind of an upgrade. But still, I don't think it was this massive upgrade, because Aubameyang still had something left in the tank while he was at Barca. Like I said, at Arsenal, he was really, really good. At Dortmund, he was fantastic. I mean, that was obviously his prime, in my opinion, at Dortmund. And yeah, he was one of the best strikers in the world for a good period of time. So for me, Aubameyang is one of those guys that's going to go down in history as extremely underappreciated, because everybody, you know what the biggest misconception, we know it pisses me off? The biggest misconception about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is that he was just like this pace merchant. Like, he was just like, what was that trio in FIFA that people always use? Musa and Sissoko, whatever trio it was. Like, he just abused pace. That's not the case. He was actually a really technically gifted player and had a great shot on him as well. And he was actually an underrated playmaker as well. If you watched him at Arsenal and at Dortmund, he was a very underrated playmaker in my opinion. So again, for me, Aubameyang is an extremely underrated striker. This guy was a goal-scoring machine for a number of years. And yeah, for me, man, obviously now I think he's playing in Saudi. He went to Chelsea, didn't work out after Barca. But man, this guy in his prime was one of the best around, and no one can really debate that, honestly. The next tip we have here is a good one. Yamal will win a Ballon d'Or before Mbappe. If you would have told football fans this take back in May of this year, they would have said that's crazy. But honestly, bro, looking at it now in October of 2024, you cannot say this take is crazy. Nobody can say this take is insane, because it's actually probably going to happen. I believe Lamine Yamal will win a Ballon d'Or in the next 3 seasons. I really do believe that. I don't think Kylian Mbappe is going to win a Ballon d'Or in the next 3 seasons. And honestly, bro, I don't think Kylian Mbappe is ever going to get his hands on the Ballon d'Or. I just don't think he will at this point. And Lamine Yamal is he's on the rise, man. He's 17 and he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. We see it basically every single game for Barca. He plays better than the previous game. You know, he was great last season. He goes to the Euros. He was amazing. He comes in the season for Barca and has been one of the best players in the world. He just keeps getting better. He just keeps progressing. And Mbappe, on the other hand, is on the decline, in my opinion. He's declining right before our eyes. And again, Mbappe's not old. He's in his mid-20s. This should be theoretically his prime. But I don't know what happened to Kylian Mbappe. He's simply not the same player that he was a couple years back. He's just not that player. What happened to that guy? In the UCL for PSG last year, apart from the tie against Real Sociedad, he was subpar. In the Euros this year, he was subpar in my opinion. Honestly, he was awful. He massively underperformed at the Euros in my opinion in Germany. He just wasn't good enough. And then this season for Madrid, I know Madrid fans want to shout out his stats. He has this many goals and this many assists. Bro, he scored I think 2 non-penalty goals this season. 2. And if you watch the games, which I do, and I'm sure like Barca fans that watch Madrid like I do, you see that he's not good enough. And even Madrid fans will tell you he's not playing well. Even Madrid fans, the biggest Madrid fan, will tell you he's just not playing well. He doesn't seem to be, he can't acclimate himself well to that team. He seems out of place, like a fish out of water. So again, for me, I think Mbappe is a guy who's probably never going to win the Ballon d'Or. And when he came to Madrid, we're like, oh, the super team, they're going to win so many trophies. He's going to win all the Ballon d'Ors. I mean, yes, they might win trophies, but he's not the focal point of that team anymore. It looks like Vini is more the focal point of that team. Even Bellingham is more the focal point of that team. It looks like Mbappe is just like a passenger along for the ride. You know? So for me, again, I think Lamine Yamal is a guy who's going to win multiple Ballon d'Ors in his career. He's going to go down as one of the best players of all time. And again, he's 17 years old, only going to keep getting better. And the argument that everybody, like, people might say, oh, but Barca not going to win that many trophies. I mean, dude, have you seen this Barca squad? They're winning, and, you know, half of our squad, or some of our best players are injured right now. When this Barca squad is fully healthy, they're going to win trophies this season. And Barca are going to have, Lamine Yamal is going to have silverware to back up winning the Ballon d'Or. I promise you will. With Hansi Flick, I believe this team is going to be really, really good for the next couple of years. So again, Lamine Yamal, people might say, oh, Lamine Yamal won't win it because, yes, his stats might be great, but his trophy cabinet might not be as good. That doesn't seem to be the case with Hansi Flick coming in now. So again, for me, that was the only thing that you could say. Mbappe's going to win more trophies. But now, is it really looking like that? Again, I don't want to sound too cocky and too arrogant this early on in the season, but it's looking like one team is looking better than the other one so far. And again, one guy's on the rise, and it's just only gonna keep getting better. And one guy seems to be declining right before our eyes. So I 100% agree with this take. And again, the crazy part is, if you would have said this take out loud like 4 months ago, everybody would have thought you were wild, because Mbappe was universally regarded as the best player in the world, and he very well still might be. But again, I haven't seen it in the last couple of years from Mbappe. And in the last year and a half, his performances have not been up to par in my opinion. So again, for me, Lamine Yamal is going to win the Ballon d'Or before Mbappe, because I believe he's going to win one in the next 3 years. Like I said, I don't think Mbappe is going to get his hands on it in the next 3 years, or even honestly for the rest of his career, like I said. Our next hot take: 2017 Real Madrid had more aura than any other team in history. I'll tell you this, bro. I can't say they had the most aura out of any team in history, because I'm going to give you a team that I think had more aura, but they're definitely in the top 3. I will give you they're in the top 3, because this team, man, I mean, the purple kit is so iconic. That final in Cardiff of them wearing the purple kit. The home kit even for them was sick as fuck. That home kit with like the polo was extremely beautiful. You had Zidane on the touchline. I mean, Zidane had so much aura as a manager on the touchline. But really, for me, this team's aura, I mean, they had massive aura. Don't get me wrong, they had massive aura. But what carries their aura for that season was Ronaldo. I mean, that Ronaldo version had so much fucking aura. The new right here Ronaldo with the purple kit in Cardiff. I mean, scoring the brace, the hat-trick against Bayern Munich, albeit with the offside goals, but still the hat-trick against Bayern Munich, the hat-trick against Atletico Madrid. I mean, that version of Ronaldo had so much aura, it kind of carries it a little bit, but still, that team had massive amounts of aura. I mean, that team had a lot of aura. Isco had a lot of aura that year. KCM. So again, the aura is there, but to me, the team with the most aura in history, and you guys know, I gotta give it to my boys, man. I'm sorry. I cannot say that a Madrid team had more aura than a Barca team. I just can't. For me, it's 08-09 Barca. That team had the most aura of all time. And I'm going to say it one more time. I've said it before, but I'm going to say it one more time. 08-09 Barca has so much aura. When a team performs well, they compare them to 08-09 Barca. That team played so well yesterday, they look like 09 Barcelona. That's what people say. That's what people say when a team plays amazing. When they're unplayable on any given day. That team looked like 08 Barca. Can you imagine how much aura you have to be used as an adjective? Barca and 08 are used as an adjective to describe how dominant a performance was. You sometimes hear people say 2017 Real Madrid, but you don't hear it nearly as much as Barca. You just don't hear it nearly as much as Barca. And Real Madrid fans will say, oh, I hear it the same amount, because you don't. Come on, be unbiased for a second. You do not hear it as much as Barca. So again, for me, 08-09 Barca, that team, man, you had Pep, you had Messi with the boot, holding the boot in Rome in the final. You had Henry, you had Eto'o, you had Puyol, Piqué, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. I mean, that performance in the Bernabeu, the 6-2 in May of 09, is one of the, that was an aura orgy. An aura orgy. I don't know if that makes sense. But again, that was insane aura. That was a crazy amounts of aura. So again, for me, I think 08-09 Barca had more aura, but 2017 Real Madrid definitely is in the short list of top 3 teams at worst with the most aura of all time. But you guys know I gotta give it to my boys in Barca. But yeah, Madrid's definitely in that list, like I said. The next take we have: Salah should be in the conversation with people like Henry and Rooney in terms of being a Premier League legend. 1000% agree. Mohamed Salah sits at the same table as the biggest legends in Premier League history. Name them. He sits at the same table as all of them, man. He does. 100%. This guy, when he's in the Prem, has been nothing short of remarkable. He's done everything in the Prem. He's won the Premier League. He's won a Golden Boot. He's done it all. He has done it all in the Prem. And the only thing holding him back to being compared to guys like Henry and Rooney is that those guys did win multiple Premier Leagues, and Mohamed Salah only has one Premier League. But again, you have to put it into context. This guy was competing with Man City in their prime, and those guys, I mean, when Henry was at Arsenal for a couple of seasons, they were the best team in England by far. And when Rooney was at United, they were always the best team in England. That's why he won so many Premier Leagues. So again, Mo Salah never had the privilege of playing for the best team in England, because again, when he was at Liverpool, Man City were dominating and putting up 100 points in a season. So again, you can't blame him for not winning it. But even then, he still won a Premier League. You can't say he didn't win one, because he won a Premier League. So for me, Mohamed Salah is a guy who, yes, he should be in that conversation with guys like that, because this guy has done it all in the Prem. This is a guy who, the prime of his career has come in the Premier League. So for me, Mohamed Salah is a guy who's massively disrespected by people, but he's definitely one of the biggest Premier League legends of all time, and a guy who, when it's all said and done, he's going to be, I mean, you won't be able to talk about the Premier League and the history of that league without talking about Mohamed Salah, because that's how impactful he's been to the Premier League. So again, for me, I think Salah is definitely in that conversation, and I think that he sits at the table with all the all-time Premier League greats. So yeah, I'm going to 100% agree with this take. I think it's a great take. The next take we have in today's video: this Spain team can repeat the iconic run that 2010 Spain team had and go Euro World Cup Euro. I don't know, man. That's really difficult to do. If I had to bet on this, if I had to bet that if they're going to do it or not, I would say no, they're not going to do it. Because first of all, that Spain team and this Spain team on paper are very different. This Spain team is really, really good, has a lot of talent. That Spain team on paper might be the best squad of all time. I mean, obviously you have Brazil in the 70s, you have fucking, I don't know, the France team in 98, Brazil in 02. I mean, those teams are obviously great, but this Spain team is right up there with all of them. All the best international sides of all time on paper, that Spain team, you could put her up against any of them and they would hold their own. And honestly, they would win most of those battles. That team had Ramos, Piqué, Puyol, Capdevilla, Xavi Alonso, David Silva, Iniesta, Xavi. Well, I mean, you guys know the names. I don't have to go through the whole list, but you guys know the names. Some of the greatest legends of all time played on that Spanish team, okay? And that team was so deep, especially in that midfield. And also, they had one of the best managers of all time, Vicente del Bosque, who before he ever won a single trophy with Spain, he was already one of the best managers of all time, winning multiple UCLs and also dominating football in Spain. So again, that team had one of the GOAT managers in international football and just in football in general, and one of the best teams of all time. This Spain team, Luis de la Fuente is a great manager in my opinion. Obviously showcased it at the Euro. He outcoached Deschamps. He outcoached Gareth Southgate. He outcoached all the managers he came up against. He outcoached Julian Nagelsmann in my opinion in that quarterfinal game. So again, he's a really, really good manager. I don't think he's quite Vicente del Bosque yet. And that Spain team, this Spain team on paper, it's really, really good. I mean, you have Carvajal, who's a legend of the game. You have Rodri, who's going to go down as a legend of the game. You have Lamine Yamal, who's ascending and might go down, like who will go down one day as a legend of the game. You have young guys like Nico Williams who are ascending and only getting better and are going to be probably world-class players if they're not already at some point in their career. You have a guy in Alvaro Morata who's a seasoned veteran who's been a goal scorer his whole life. You have guys like Fabian Ruiz. You have guys like obviously Pedri who are young, who are really, really good as well. You obviously have Cucurella who had a great tournament and Laporte and all those guys. So again, this team is decent, but it's not Spain in 2010. And to go Euro, World Cup, Euro, to be that consistent and that dominant for 4 years, it's honestly so difficult to do. And, you know, the World Cup is a tough one, man. They already have one knocked out, so they won the Euro already. So we're only looking at them to win the next World Cup and the next Euro. And if you look at the squads that they're going up against, I mean, France, I know they had a disappointing Euro, but as soon as they get rid of the Champs, that team is going to keep getting better. If they still have the Champs, they're not going to win anything, but if they get rid of the Champs, that team's going to be scary. You also have, obviously, the team like fucking, what's the name of that team? England. How did I forget England? You have England, obviously, who are just going to keep getting better and have a really, really good young squad as well. So for me, I think that even if you look at teams like the Netherlands and all those teams, like they're going to keep getting better. So again, for me, I think it might be difficult for them because the talent pool is so crazy right now. I mean, there's so many international teams that are stacked. It's going to be difficult for them to win that. So again, I'm not going to bet on them doing it. If I have to bet money on it, I wouldn't do it. But I wouldn't put it past them. But again, to do what that Spain team did, you got to be so good and so consistent, and you have to obviously have the injury luck be on your side. And I hope they have it. But if I have to put money on it, I wouldn't say they would. I just noticed, by the way, in that last clip, my face, like the camera was super zoomed in, like not super zoomed in, but it was zoomed into my face more than usual. So I apologize about that. I just noticed it, so I had to change it real quick. I don't know if that was for the whole video or just that last clip, but again, if that bothered you, I apologize because I just noticed it. But anyway, moving on past that, it doesn't really matter that much because it wasn't that zoomed in. But anyway, moving on past that, let's get to the next take. Ronaldo isn't the best player in any of the big leagues that he played in. Prem, Henry, La Liga, Messi, and Serie A, Zidane or Maldini. Here's the thing, bro. You have to differentiate. I always tell people this. Who's the best player to play in a league and who has the best legacy in the league? So, Ronaldo is the best player to ever play in the Prem because he's a better player than Henry. Ronaldo is the best player to ever play in the Serie A because he's a better player than Zidane and Maldini. Now, in La Liga, it's a different story because Messi is obviously the GOAT, so he's not going to compete with Messi on legacy or who's the best to play in La Liga. So take La Liga away. But the Prem and in the Prem and the Serie A, look, he doesn't have the best Serie A legacy of all time because, again, he didn't spend that much time there. In the Prem, dude, if you look at Ronaldo's trophy cabinet in the Prem, you could put it up against anybody's. Honestly, you could. I mean, this guy, what he did in the Prem, he won every single individual trophy you could win. He won the Golden Boot, he won the Ballon d'Or while being in the Prem. Still to this day, the last Premier League player to win the Ballon d'Or was Ronaldo back in 08. So he did all that, right? And he won multiple Premier Leagues. He won a UCL while being in the Prem. But you wouldn't really say he has the same legacy as Henry in the Prem because Henry made his name in the Premier League. You know what I mean? Ronaldo, well, yes, he was already, like when he got to Madrid, he had already made a name for himself. Made a name for himself in the Prem. He was, he was already, like, he really, like, the bulk of his prime came in Madrid, in my opinion. Like, as opposed to Henry or guys like Rooney, who their prime was really in the Prem. So again, in that sense, I understand. But again, when you're talking about trophy cabinet, Ronaldo definitely compares to all these guys. But for me, I would say Henry is a bigger Premier League legend than Ronaldo, and so is Rooney. But here's the thing about the stick also. People always say this, and I agree, but if you look at Ronaldo, yes, he might not be the best player to ever play in the Prem, or like he may not have the best Premier League legacy or La Liga legacy or Serie A legacy, but there's this competition called the UCL, and he's pretty much universally regarded as the greatest player to ever play in the UCL. I mean, this guy has the most goals in UCL history. He has, like, prior to obviously this past one, because he had 5 and Modric and Kroos were tied with him, but again, he has 5 UCLs, which is obviously not the most all time anymore, but it's really, really fucking good. I mean, 5 UCLs is fucking crazy, and there's a guy who, so many iconic moments that he had in the UCL. They go against Porto, they go against Arsenal, International back in 08, the bicycle kick against fucking Juventus. I mean, we know the hat trick against Atletico Madrid, the brace against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena. Some of the most iconic and greatest moments in the history of that competition are thanks to Ronaldo. And there's a guy who again, like I said, when it comes to the UCL, he is that guy. So when it comes to these individual leagues in these countries, you may not be that guy, but when it comes to the biggest competition in club football, even me, as a guy who's the biggest Messi fan you will find, I gotta admit, he's that guy when it comes to the UCL. So again, he may not have it in the Prem, in the Serie A, or in La Liga, but when it comes to the UCL, he is the best player to ever play in La Liga, and no one really can debate that. The next thing we have in today's video is a crazy one. Madrid 23-24 is the worst side ever to win the UCL. That is absolutely insane, bro. That is absolutely insane. Should I remind you about Chelsea in 2021, that team under Thomas Tuchel? Should I remind you about Chelsea back in 11-12, who started Ryan Bertrand in a UCL final? Ryan Bertrand was a starter for Chelsea in a UCL final. Need I remind you, about Porto in 03-04? I mean, come on, bro. This Madrid team, it was really, really good. If you look at that Madrid team, they have some of the best players in the world in that squad. Vinicius Jr. is one of the best in the world. Jude Bellingham is one of the best in the world. Fucking Valverde is one of the best in the world. Toni Kroos, last season, and even for his whole career, he was one of the best in the world. Even if you look at their goalkeeper, fucking Lunin. In the final, it was Courtois who started. So again, Courtois is one of the best, if not the best goalkeeper in the world. Carvajal, amazing. I mean, come on, bro. We're talking about some legends of the game here in that squad. We cannot just say they're the worst squad ever to win the UCL. No, absolutely not. Even me as the biggest Barca fan you'll find, I am not having this. This is crazy, bro. Chelsea, like I said, with Tuchel. Chelsea with Roberto Di Matteo. Fucking Porto under Mourinho. I'm trying to think of any other teams that I can think of. Dude, Liverpool. Oh my God, how did I forget about Liverpool that night in Istanbul? Bro, come on. Come on, bro. Liverpool back in 04-05 under Rafa Benitez. This Madrid team, like I said the names, bro. Rodrigo, who's an amazing player. Like I said, Vini, Bellingham, Kroos, Modric, Valverde. That team, this team is stacked, bro. That team was stacked. So again, for me, I would say this is blasphemous. No, they're not the worst side ever to win the UCL. There's plenty of other teams that I can think of off the top of my head, like I just did, that are worse than this Madrid team. This Madrid team is not even it's not even one of the 5 worst teams to win the UCL. So this take for me, even as a Barca fan, it's blasphemous, man. Absolutely not. The next thing we have in today's video, Madueke and Jackson are better than Cole Palmer, but Palmer takes the spotlight. Look, I'm a big fan of Noni Madueke. I'm a big fan of Nicholas Jackson. I think they're both really, really good players for Chelsea and 2 guys who are just going to keep getting better. And this young Chelsea core, honestly, give it a couple years, this team might be one of the best in the world because that core is so young and so good. Like I said, I have a lot of faith in those players, but this take to me is crazy. Madueke and Jackson are really, really good players, like I just said. Cole Palmer is a different level. Cole Palmer is, right now, a top 3 player in the world. On form, he's a top 3 player in the world. And he's been the best player in the Prem this season. There's no debate about that. Cole Palmer is a different type of player. And I rate Cole Palmer very highly. I rate him very highly. I know people rate Cole Palmer very highly. I'm really, really high on Cole Palmer. I think he's going to be a guy who can go down as one of the best players to ever play in the Prem. And the reason why Palmer takes a spotlight is because he's better than those guys. There's a reason why he takes a spotlight. Because he's just better. He's a better player. One of the best players in the Prem right now. Like I said, the best to me so far. Cole Palmer is a different level. Again, Madueke and Nicholas Jackson are really, really good. And Jackson is a guy who, yes, he gets clowned a lot because of, he's missing open nets, and especially last season. But if you look at this guy's overall game, he's one of the most complete strikers in the Prem and honestly in Europe. If you look at his overall game, this guy's that good and that complete. So I rate them both very highly, like I said. But Cole Palmer is just a different level, man. This guy's is generational. I'm not saying those 2 guys aren't, but this guy's a different level. There's levels to this shit, and Cole Palmer's a level above. So again, for me, I think Cole Palmer rightfully takes the spotlight because he is the better player. The next thing we have here, Hansi Flick is the first world-class manager Barca has had since Pep. Let's look at the managers since Pep, right? So after Pep, it was Tito Villanueva, rest in peace. Not an elite manager in my opinion. Then we have Tata Martino, not an elite manager in my opinion. Then we have Luis Enrique, who when he came into Barca wasn't an elite manager, but when he left as an elite manager because obviously he won the treble. But again, do people consider Luis Enrique elite now? I don't think so. So maybe I don't know. Luis Enrique is a weird one because again, he started off so well, but his latter years were so bad, and I don't know what he's doing now. Should I still consider him elite? I don't know. That's a tough one. But then after Luis Enrique, it was obviously Ernesto Valverde, who at the time was one of the best managers in La Liga. He was probably the best manager in La Liga when he got to Barca. Honestly, he was. What that guy had done with Bilbao, the season that he was there's a reason why he went to Barcelona, because he was really, really good. So again, do I think he was world class at the time? I would say yes. And if you look at Valverde's time at Barca, the guy, yes, obviously we all know those UCL games against Roma, those ties, against Roma and against Liverpool. But those teams always perform in the league. They always perform in the league, and they had obviously, especially in 2017, 2018, a historic league season. But again, is he the same level as Hansi Flick? I don't know. Then we had Tikas at the end and Ronald Koeman and fucking, Xavi, who were not elite. So again, it comes down to, it was Ernesto Valverde an elite manager and was Luis Enrique an elite manager. And are they better than Hansi Flick? I don't know. I really don't know, because it's tough, because both of those guys came in. I mean, one guy came in as an elite manager, but now we don't really consider him that, and that's obviously Ernesto Valverde. Then one guy was an unknown when he first became manager, and then he left being world class because he obviously won a treble. But I would say he is, like, so I would say Hansi, here's what I would say, because I'm yapping a lot. I would say Hansi Flick is the best manager since Pep to be at Barca. And again, it might be premature to say this, but Hansi Flick, if you look at his track record prior to Barca, it's better than anything Luis Enrique and definitely Ernesto Valverde. Sorry, it's better than anything Ernesto Valverde and definitely Luis Enrique did, because this guy, before coming to Barca, had one of the most dominant club seasons of all time with Bayern, winning the treble. So, yeah, this is a tough one, but I would probably tend to agree with this one, honestly. The next pick we have here, Di Maria has a better football legacy than Neymar. No. No. Legacy and trophy cabinet are a different thing. Di Maria has a better trophy cabinet than Neymar, because Di Maria has one of the greatest trophy cabinets in the history of this fucking game. I mean, what hasn't Di Maria won? Multiple Copa Americas, a World Cup, a UCL. He never won a Liga, but he's won league titles as well, obviously in France mostly. So his trophy cabinet, it's great. It's one of the best of all time. He doesn't have a better football legacy than Neymar. Legacy is more than just football. It's the impact you've left on the game. When you're gone, Neymar's going to be talked about in 150 years from now. I love Angel Di Maria. He's one of the most underrated players of all time. He's going to be talked about for years because obviously his goal in the World Cup final and his goal in the Copa America final. He's not the same as Neymar, man. And Neymar impacted a generation. Neymar impacted a whole generation. Neymar at Santos had fucking dudes wearing tape around their nose. They had the haircut. He was like Odell Beckham Jr. in a way, bro. You know what? I don't know if there's a lot of NFL fans watching this, but Odell Beckham Jr. literally impacted a whole generation of people. Now, is he a better receiver than Calvin Johnson? No, but he had a better legacy. Legacy is different than trophy cabinet. It's just different, man. It's a difference. So for me, Neymar, his legacy in football is honestly second to none. There's very few players that have a better legacy in football and that will be remembered as much as Neymar will. And again, Di Maria will always be remembered because he scored in a World Cup final, and he scored in a Copa America final, and he scored, I'm pretty sure, did he score in the UCL final? No, in the UCL final it was Ronaldo, Marcelo, and Bale. Yeah, so he didn't score in the UCL final, but again, he had a great performance that night in Lisbon. But for me, when I look at Neymar, man, people disrespect him too much. Neymar has one of the greatest legacies of all time because, again, the impact this guy has left on the game is second to none. So for me, again, a trophy cabinet, sure, because he has one of the best trophy cabinets of all time, but as a football legacy, and definitely as a player, Di Maria, in my opinion, is not going close to Neymar. A couple more here before we finish off the video. Valverde is by far the best midfielder in the world right now. Fede Valverde is such a good player, man. This guy is fantastic. I would say he's the best midfielder in the world right now. But when you say by far, look, bro, there's a lot of good midfielders in Europe right now. Now, he's definitely the best. Like I said, he's definitely the best right now. And his form over the past couple years, I mean, he's earned that spot. What he's done, not just this season or last season, but over the past couple seasons, going back to that 21-22 season when Madrid won the league with Benzema, won the UCL with Benzema, he was fantastic. Obviously assisted in that UCL final in Paris against Liverpool. So he's earned that spot. But to say by far, man, I think Pedri's in that conversation. Sue me, he's in that conversation. I think the fully fit Pedri is in that conversation. I know people hate that, like rival fans hate to hear fully fit because Pedri's never really fully fit. That's the one thing that's really been the biggest cripple in his career. No, the biggest crutch in his career. Cripple. What the fuck? The biggest crutch in it, or like his biggest setback has been that he's not really always healthy. But I don't think to say by far in a way that means he's like miles better than Pedri as a player. And I don't believe that. So again, for me, I think Valverde is the best right now. But I think Pedri, he's coming, man. He's definitely, I'm not going to say he's close, but he's definitely approaching. And our final take, AI-based referee technology will be created and will have a 100% accuracy record on calls before even being implemented, eliminating human refs entirely. I hate this take so much. I'm on an island on this, I know, but I've said it multiple times. I'm going to say it one more time. Human error is a part of sports. I don't want AI-based refereeing. AI is already influential, like it's already taking over everything in our lives, okay? I don't want it in football. Keep it out of sports. I don't want it in baseball with robot umpires. I like seeing the umpire do the strike and do the ball. Like, not obviously you don't do a ball sign, but again, like not saying anything for ball. And when he strikes someone out, he fucking does a little thing like strike out. I fucking like that, man. I like having the human there. I like having the human ref on the pitch. I think human error is a part of football. Now, people hate to hear that, but I think it's a part of football. And it's what makes sports so great. Sports, not just football, it's sports so great. So for me, I fucking hate this take. Keep the technology. We can have it on Amazon and on cars and all this stuff. I mean, even like with fucking, I don't know, porn even. You can have AI porn. I don't care what you want to do it with, but just don't do it with football. Please don't do it with football because human error is a part of the game. And I don't want to see some robot out on the pitch. I don't want to see some AI call. I just want to see a ref. I don't want to even see VAR. Okay, keep it to what it used to be. This is one thing that doesn't need to be changed. I sound like an old head on this because honestly, this does not need to be changed. Keep it to the way it was. It's plenty good for now. It's plenty good, man. But anyway, that's my take on that. I love you guys, man. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to everybody who submitted their hot take. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.